In this video, we're going to look at calcium. Calcium is definitely one of the key major minerals in the human body. It's the most abundant mineral in the human body. And as we'll see, it actually has a lot of different functions. And my guess is you probably have heard of calcium before. And probably your first thought when you hear calcium is milk, right? And that it's very important for bone growth. And that is definitely true. One of the key functions that we think of when we get to calcium is building and maintaining bone and teeth and dental structures. And that is definitely one function, though there are a host of other functions that calcium plays a role in. You may recall from physiology, calcium plays a key role in muscle contraction when it binds to troponin and alters actin-myosin interaction. It plays a key role in active transport in cell membranes, plays a role in fertilization, plays a role in nerve transmission. It's a cofactor for a lot of different processes, whether it's prothrombin to thrombin, whether it plays a role in excitability of cell membranes. Calcium has a lot of potentially important roles. Now, we're going to generally focus on the bone maintenance part because that's the one we're probably most familiar with, and it's the reason why that calcium, in regards to all the minerals, is the most commonly supplemented mineral. We're not going to include iron in that conversation as an actual pharmacological agent. There's roughly a million and a half Americans who take calcium to limit osteoporosis, which is loss of bone mass. So because of that, we're going to focus on the bone growth part of calcium, but without a doubt, it plays a whole lot of other different roles in the human body. So as you're familiar, calcium is available in foods like milk, although calcium is largely fortified in things like orange juice and milk and other products. So although calcium does generally exist in dairy, Parmesan cheese is actually quite high in calcium, goat milk, things like that. There are also a number of plants, particularly green leafy vegetables, spinach, peas, things like that, that are relatively high in calcium for plants. But again, this is one of those that largely this is going to be fortified in a lot of foods you consume. So what are we concerned with calcium? Well, generally, a toxicity of calcium is called hypercalcemia. It definitely can occur. It's more of a clinical condition. It can play a role in impaired renal function. There's a lot of things that can cause hypercalcemia, and I will tell you, it's not typically consuming too much calcium. There's other clinical issues, particularly dealing with kidney function, that can cause that. On the other side, a deficiency in blood calcium is called hypocalcemia, and not a surprise that deficiency can lead to decreases in bone mineral density, which is BMD, or bone mineral content, which is BMC. And that's generally a way we attempt to define osteoporosis. Now, there is some research out there that ties low calcium with alterations in blood pressure. There's mixed evidence in that, but there's definitely some literature out there that leads to that. There's some literature out there that ties calcium to potentially other clinical issues, at least a deficiency of it. But generally, when there is deficiency of this or inability to absorb it, really, that'll lead to hypocalcemia. And so it's for this reason that it's used as a supplement or really a pharmacological agent to limit osteoporosis, or at least prevent drops in bone mineral density, is not uncommon. It's very inexpensive, widely available, and very few clinical side effects. There are other medications for osteoporosis that probably have a greater effect, but can have some side effects as well. So calcium, definitely one of the most common minerals, probably of all the minerals we're going to talk about, the one you've probably heard of the most, and one that is, like some of these others we'll talk about, largely fortified in foods that you consume. In the next video, we will look at phosphorus. We'll see you in the next video.